How do we find the right friends in our 30s?
Am I really that much to handle? Breaking these niggas down like a camel. You don't really know you.
What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, welcome. My name is Nicole, and on this channel, we do all things how to live a more beautiful life. So if you are on a journey to just becoming the best version of yourself and just trying to live a better, happier, more beautiful life, definitely subscribe to my channel. I'm sure I have something over here for you. In case you don't know, on this channel, we're all about healing and self-growth and things like that, but we're also about honest conversations, sometimes ones that are hard. And today I want to talk about something that not a lot of people talk about, not a lot of women talk about, especially Black women. That is navigating friendship in your 30s. The journey of losing friends, finding the right ones, gaining friends, all the things. I just want to talk about that in today's video. How do we find the right friends in our 30s? I definitely think having friends is important. I used to be a loner, but I think it's important to have community, to have a tribe, because especially things like when you're navigating different types of moments in your life, especially if you have kids, it does take a village, and having some good friends around you can make things all the better, but you got to make sure that they're the right ones. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Definitely stay tuned for the entire video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is outgrowing friendships, okay? I applaud, there's so many people, especially my big sister, she's in her 40s now. You know, I wonder sometimes like how, because I don't have any friends from elementary school. The longest friends I have, my best friend is from 9th grade in high school. And really that's my oldest friend that I still keep in touch with today. So I think it's really commendable that you have friends, lifelong friends, literally from childhood to womanhood. I think that's amazing, but oftentimes it doesn't work out that way. A lot of us as women, we outgrow friendships because we are constantly evolving. We're in different chapters. The same friends that you had as a teenager, you know, you may not align as an adult. The truth is, when you get to a place in life and you start doing the work to rediscover yourself, when you heal, you grow, you set boundaries, and you really start to get real with yourself, you're going to lose some people. And not always because they're toxic. Sometimes it's just because the version of yourself that they were friends with doesn't exist anymore. And that's painful. I remember losing some friends when I stopped being the therapist friend, or the friend that always showed up with no boundaries. When I stopped centering other people's comfort over my own. Some people faded out. Others left loud. And I had to grieve that, honestly. I mean, I've had friends that I thought were friends and maybe they really weren't. I think that's another aspect of outgrowing friendships. Was it really a friendship in the first place? I had a friend before who never really listened to my things, my problems. And I'm not big on trauma bonding at all. I don't think that's healthy. But if I'm always showing up for you, I'm always a listening ear for you and supporting you through everything that you're going through. And every time I try to vent or get it out or express what I'm going through, you don't have time to listen to me. Things like that. Just paying attention to relationships that you have and trying to understand if they're actual friendships in the first place. But nonetheless, you have to, as you grow, as you heal, as you work on becoming the best version of yourself, you have to set boundaries. And if friendships are outgrown in the process, then so be it. It may hurt, it may be painful, especially if it's somebody that you hung out with every weekend or you always did happy hour with or whatever. Sometimes you got to take that loss, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be as much of a loss as you think if that relationship or friendship was not healthy for you in the first place. I want y'all to remember, when it comes to outgrowing friendships, sometimes it's not really a loss. Sometimes it's a graduation. It's an elevation. I'm so big on surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and that includes your friend circle. It includes the people that you spend most of your time with, because sometimes you got to graduate. Sometimes you got to move on to the next chapter, and sometimes you can still take old friends with you. It can work out. This video is not about always getting rid of friends or ditching them to move on to something better. No, it's, can y'all grow together? Can y'all align together? And can y'all be there to support each other as you grow through life? Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the shift in your 30s, okay? Sometimes, like, your 20s is one era, and I'm in my early 30s now, but I can reflect now because I've gone through transitions of friendships and changes in life and rediscovering myself and all those things. especially having a child at a younger age, sometimes you grow differently when you have a kid early and your friends don't, or whatever, different scenarios, right? Being in your 30s as a woman can be unique. You're starting to become rooted in who you are. You actually start unlearning a lot. You know, you go through phases, career changes, you know, your you've been out of college for a while, your college friends may be on different paths. You're really rediscovering yourself once you hit 30. This is also a time where you start listening to your voice. You start really realizing and feeling yourself and understanding and learning what you like, what you don't like, who you are. Sometimes we really do. A lot of times high school, it's a lot of following, and not saying that you don't have any leadership or yourself, but a lot of times you're following the trends, you're having fun. You're not focused on real life when you're a teenager, your early 20s. You want to party, you want to have fun, you want to go out. And that's all good. But once that phase is fading away and you start realizing, okay, real life is kicking in, you're really rediscovering yourself. And because of that, your standards start to change. You no longer have time for one-sided friendships, for constant drama, for people who don't see you. Ooh, that hit so hard for me. Like when I started realizing I'm showing up for people more, things are one-sided, a lot of things change. And I have a video on changing in your 30s and making some major life changes. I will link it in the description of this video. Once you get to this point, you really have to decide, do I want better for myself? Do I want to start showing up for myself because I know other people or, people have not in the past done that for me? At this point, you want friends who are going to pour into you the way that you pour into them. You want friends who are going to hold space for you, not just during your wins, because we all know how that goes, but you want people in your life who are going to be your friends that are going to hold space for you in the down times when things are not so great. And so the thing is, that kind of friendship requires realignment, not proximity, not history, but alignment. I've had friends that we got super close because we worked at the same place and we lived in the same area. So that means we can ride together to work. We can come home from work together. So it was like proximity, right? Same with high school, college. Then you have friends that are like history, okay, we've been friends since we were 10, so I got to still maintain this friendship. That can be true, but I think the level of friendship, how close you hold those people can vary too. So now that we know alignment is key, right? Let's talk about how to find the right friends in your 30s. Okay, now before we get into that, if you have not subscribed to my channel already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, girl. Make sure you turn on that notification bell so whenever I post, YouTube will notify you, because my content is going to help you in some way, shape, or form. I promise you. I just literally, some people are like, why are you so happy and nice and want to do well by people? I don't know. I just want people. I've been through so much in my life, especially in my 20s. I want people to feel the same thing of getting over things, getting to the other side, seeing the light through the darkness, because I've had to do that. And so if you are just on a growth journey, trying to live a more beautiful life, trying to be happy, trying to live happy in real life and not on social media or through your phone, subscribe. I'm sure I have something for you. All right, now let's get into how to find the right friends in your 30s. Here's what has worked for me. And it's worked for a lot of women in their 30s who I've talked. First, you have to be the friend that you're looking for. Are you honest? Do you communicate? Are you supportive without losing yourself? I'm sure y'all have heard this before, but we attract what we are, or at least what we're becoming. So this is the same as for people looking for a romantic relationship or a husband or a spouse. You have to become the best version of yourself. And this is why I create the content that I do, because I've been on this journey and it is actually real, y'all. It's real. So when you work on yourself, you do the work to better yourself. And I have videos on doing the work on yourself. Go through some of my playlists. Y'all will find some good content. When you become the best version of yourself, or at least you know who you want to become, you will start to attract the right people that align with what you want. You attract what you're looking for. All right. So the next thing I want y'all to do, and this has worked for me, get out of the should have been here by now mindset. If you look on my YouTube banner, you see shift your mindset is my tagline, because that's really what you have to do to get through this thing called life, to get through some of the challenges that life throws our way. You have to shift your mindset. Remember that friendship doesn't follow a timeline. You can meet your girls, your bestie, your soul sister at 35, 40, whatever. So stay open and stay present. The next thing I want you to do is be intentional with your spaces. Be intentional with your spaces. Go where people who value you are. People who value your growth and your softness. That could be group therapy, book clubs, taking a dance or fitness class, yoga class, whatever your interests are. Go to those spaces. Put yourself in spaces where like-minded women or potential friends may be. Social media communities can also be beneficial because a lot of times when you move to a new city, and I've done this before where I've joined like the group me or different Facebook groups, just trying to understand women like me and just find people like me out there. So you can join social media communities as well. Social media is not always toxic. I use social media to my benefit a lot because there is some positivity out there. And that's what I want to bring to the social media world too. But just put yourself in spaces with like-minded women who have the same interests as you, or at least similar. And that'll help you too. That'll help you to at least get into spaces with potential friends, because once you graduate high school, graduate college, and you work, and a lot of times if your job, say you're working remote, or you may not work with people who are in your age group or that have similar interests than you, it's really hard to find work friends. So definitely got to get into spaces where, you know, there are women that do activities that you like to do or have a similar mindset as you. The next thing I want y'all to do is do not ignore the red flags in friendships. Now, I have a video, some of y'all may have seen it, on the red flags in friendships. I will link it. Hopefully I remember, but don't ignore those, okay? If you feel drained or unseen, or like you're constantly performing and being somebody that you're not, then that's not the friendship for you. A lot of times friendship and relationship stuff, romantic relationship stuff go hand in hand. If you feel like you're overexerting yourself, if you're feeling like you're being judged, all the things, don't ignore that. Move on, okay? There's plenty of people in this world. Don't be desperate for a friend, okay? Don't ignore the red. The last tip I want to kind of give when it comes to finding friends in your 30s and finding your tribe in your 30s is, for instance, elementary school. And I think that is so amazing. Allow friendships to evolve. It is okay. This is something I had to learn and understand. It is okay for a friend to be there for a season, to have a friend for a season, right? Say you spend a summer somewhere and you click with somebody and y'all become friends for the summer. If y'all don't be as close in the fall or what have you, it's okay. Be okay with that. Understand that everything may not last for a lifetime. And sometimes people are placed in your life in a season for a reason. That was the bar. When a friendship, even if it's a new one, comes to an end, release it with grace. You can still be cool. You can still be, cordial, but it doesn't have to end toxic, right? It doesn't have to. Sometimes, if a friend, maybe you had a single friend and y'all did the single life together, then that friend gets married. Sometimes y'all friendship may come to an end, and that's okay. It doesn't have to, but sometimes it does, and that's okay. You have to release that with grace and understand that there are chapters in our life. We are writing our story. Well, God is writing our story, but we are playing it out. We are the main character. There may be twists and turns, and everything may not last forever, and that's okay. If you kind of take this advice and just sit with it and start to think consciously of these things as you're navigating, trying to find friends in your 30s, I'm sure you will find your tribe, girl. So I want to kind of end y'all with, if you are in a season of feeling like you don't have friends in your 30s or you're feeling lonely, it's okay. It really is. Everything happens for a reason. Remember that. If you're mourning the loss of friendships and wondering when you'll find your people, hear me out. Be true to yourself. Continue to work on yourself. Surround yourself with spaces that inspire you, and I'm sure your girls will come. I'm sure they're out there and they're probably looking for you too. Now, if this video resonated with you in any way, please drop a heart emoji in the comment section of this video so I know that it resonated with you. I pray that you find your friend group. I'm here for you in the meantime, girl, and I will always be here for you. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for the next video.